Students, today I will be covering the next topic of your second chapter, which is defense mechanism. Now, what is defense mechanism? Defense mechanism is about the mechanism or the procedure that we adopt to defend ourselves. Now, when I say defense mechanism, for example, to hide one lie, we do say so many lies in a day to everyone, just because so that we are not get scolded for something that we have done is wrong. So to defend ourselves, or sometimes what happens is we know that we have done something which is bad, so in order not to disclose it to anyone, we hide it in our own self. We don't reflect through our face, or we don't reflect through our body language, and therefore we hide it in our own inner self, in our unconscious mind. So what happens is that it gets embedded into our unconscious mind, and therefore it starts disturbing sometimes in our life. So defense mechanism is nothing but the mechanism or the process that we adopt to defend ourselves. Now, we'll be studying today the different kinds of defense mechanisms. Now, what is defense mechanism? It is a way of reducing anxiety by distorting reality. Now, as I said, it is for the example that I've given is that, for example, we in order to hide one lie, we say so many other lies. So, what is happening here is, because why do we lie is so that our anxiety because of something can be reduced. So defense mechanism is nothing but the way of reducing anxiety by distorting reality. We are hiding reality so that our anxiety can be reduced, and we are trying to defend ourselves in this way. Now, some defense against anxiety is normal and adaptive. It's okay to say lie, it's okay to hide something, but not to much extent. So some defense there are defense mechanisms which where your the process of hiding, of reducing your anxiety is normal, but sometimes it goes beyond that, which becomes abnormal. That is why it says some defense against anxiety is normal and adaptive. People who use these mechanisms to such an extent that reality is truly distorted develop various forms of maladjustment. Why do we use defense mechanism? Is to to distort the reality. We hide the reality. We do say lies so many times. We do something bad, but we don't want to disclose it. We don't want to tell to anyone because we are afraid that we'll be beaten up. So in order to reduce that anxiety of not telling the truth to anyone, we use those defense mechanisms. Now, next is now what does defense mechanism is the way of coping with difficult feelings. If I say that anxiety, you are reducing your anxiety by distorting reality, therefore you are coping with the difficult feelings. Your anxiety is a kind of a feeling that we have for something, and that we want to hide with others, and we want to put in our own unconscious mind. So this is what the defense mechanism is, the way of coping with difficult feelings, your mind's way of dealing with stress. Now, in your NCRT book, there are different kinds of defense mechanisms, which is repression, projection, denial, reaction formation, and rationalization. There are five kinds of defense mechanisms that has been talked in your NCRT book. So the first defense mechanism is repression. Now, what is repression? If I break this word, it says re, then press, then un. Now, in repression, what happens is we kind of repress, we kind of press the anxiety provoking situations into our mind. As I already said, sometimes what happens is that we try to hide our feelings, hide the truth into our unconscious mind. So when we try to hide it into our unconscious mind, which means that we are trying to repress it into our unconscious mind, that is what is called the repression. Now, what does repression says? Anxiety provoking behavior or thoughts are totally dismissed by the unconscious. People repress a feeling or a desire. We sometimes what happens is we try to repress, we try to press it into our unconscious mind. Sometimes what happens is we have a feeling for something, we have a desire for something. For example, if I want a bike, I know my parents don't have money, so what I'll do is I'll don't ask them to buy a bike right now. What I'll do is I'll repress it into my unconscious mind, and therefore it will be repressed into my unconscious mind. Don't tell my parents because I know they don't have money, so they don't be able to buy a bike for me. So what I'm doing over here is that I'm repressing my desire of having a bike. They become totally unaware of that wish or desire. For example, when a person says, I do not know why I did that. Sometimes what happens is you do something, but you're not aware of it. I do not know why I did that. So that is what is that you try to repress it into an unconscious mind, that you know you don't know why you did that. So this is the repression. Hope you understood, bache. The second defense mechanism is projection. Projection means when people attribute their own traits to others. For example, what happens among brothers and sisters is that you done something, and when your parents scold you for doing something, you say, no, I didn't do it, he did it, or your brother or sister did it. So what happens is that you attribute your own traits to others, कि मैंने नहीं किया, उसने किया है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आपने कुछ गलत किया, आपके मम्मी पापा आपको डांट रहे हैं, एंड देन यू ऑल ऑफ अ सडन सेज कि मैंने कुछ नहीं किया, उसने किया है. सो दैट इज व्हाट इज projection. Over here again, as I said, defending yourself is defense mechanism. Okay, so आप प्रोजेक्ट कर रहे हो किसी और पे, you have done it, but you are projecting it onto your brothers or sisters by defending yourself. A person having strong aggressive tendency may see other people as acting in an excessively aggressive way towards him or her. Now, a person who is very aggressive would always look towards others that he is also an aggressive person. The example is a person having strong aggressive tendencies. He has a strong tendency, may see other people as acting in an. A person who has a lot of aggression will always look in an aggressive way towards others. If I have an aggression, I will look towards everyone that he or she also has the same kind of similar kind of aggression in others as well. So that is what is projection. The third defense mechanism is denial. Denial means when you try to refuse the reality, you try to refuse and accept the reality. You don't want to accept the reality is denial. Person totally refuses, मैंने नहीं किया, I didn't do that. For example, someone who is suffering from HIV/AIDS may altogether deny his or her illness. मुझे तो नहीं हुआ है, people have this kind of an this thing that they don't want to disclose that they have HIV/AIDS. So that is what is denial. Refusing to accept reality is what is denial. I guess we all do this. Denial is something which is common, which is linked with one or the other thing in our daily life. So this is your denial. The next defense mechanism is reaction formation. Now, the reaction formation is person defends against anxiety by adopting behavior opposite to his or her true feeling. Sometimes we are something else, but we show something else. That is reaction formation. Person defends by against anxiety by adopting behavior opposite to his or her true feelings. मैं चाहता कुछ और हूँ पर मैं दिखा कुछ और रहा हूँ. That is reaction formation. For example, a person with strong sexual urges who channels his or her energy into religious fervor is reaction formation. A person who is always into sexual urges, but he shows that he is more religious. So that is defense mechanism, which is reaction formation. The last one is rationalization. Now rationalization is what a person tries to make unreasonable feeling or behavior seem reasonable and acceptable. For example, when a student buys a set of new pens after doing poorly in an examination, he or she may try to rationalize his or her behavior by asserting, I will do much better with these pens. So when you try to make unreasonable feelings or behavior, and you try to seem that reasonable and acceptable, you try to do something which is actually not, is rationalization. For example, the example that is there in your book is that a student who done poor in the examination may go to the market and buy new pens, and he would say that I will do much better with these pens. So that is rationalization. So students, this is all about defense mechanism. So please go through these defense mechanisms, 5 defense mechanisms, in your NCRT book on page number 35. And if you don't understand anything, please do ask me, do come back to me, message me or ring me, whatever. But please do try to understand these things. Thank you very much.